With all the things going on today, if you're not planning to bug in, you better be planning to bug out. So I'm going to show you my bug out van, and we're going to talk about some other options for bugging out and bugging out vans. And guys, we are in some serious Campi with the threats of world war, civil war, economic collapse, you name it, pandemics. There are just a lot of things that challenge the way we are used to living. The world as we know it is in dire straits at the moment. So bugging out is something you need to consider without doubt. And this is my bug out van. I have actually lived in and out of this van for better than a month. It's dirty, it's been out in the desert. So I thought I'd show you this video before I totally unpack it. I've already unpacked it just a little bit. But this van, I've actually slept in it maybe 6 or 7 nights, including the first night I got back from Arizona, because my house had been shut up tight for a month in the heat and humidity. Here it got moldy in there. I had to clean it out. I had to air it out and use spray alcohol and UV lights and fans to get my house where I could stand to be in it again. So I actually slept again in this van my first night home and had a lot of work to do. So this is the cabin, the crew cabin of my van. I've got a privacy curtain here so that I can be back there in the back and not be seen through the windshield. It also limits light so you can sleep a little bit later after sunup if you're in need of that. So it gives you more privacy options and more darkness back in the living quarters. Of course, I can exit, go in and out right here by parting the curtains. You can see this place is also doubled as an office for me. I got paperwork in here, paperwork up here on the dash, and I've got an office table in the back too, and I've had an office chair so that I could work from this van if need be. Now you can see I have a little cache over here in the passenger seats. It doesn't have a passenger. Things I might want to get at easy, cigars, cords, and just some knickknacks. I did have a cooler right here that I could scoot back there if I needed to get in and out. It was a little bit too big really. I needed to just use a smaller cooler. But going out there, I didn't want to have to buy groceries off, so I actually had 2 coolers original, one riding on the back of the van attached to the cargo hitch. Now, for self-defense, especially when I was coming back through not Arizona, but New Mexico, where the governor's passed some new rules, I had to take the kibbles out of my nugs, if you know what I'm talking about. But I do have some other options. This thing here is full auto. It's got a built-in silencer. It's yeah, infinite magazine. And yeah, the only problem with the silencer is you can't stop the other guy from screaming and yelling if you need to use something like that. I hope to never have to use anything like that. Some of you may remember I got handy access here to my bolo knife, which is a great multi-tool for camping. If I had to choose one tool to take with me, this would be it, because it's thick blade. It's so heavy, with this heavy end, I've chopped a lot of wood with it, axe style. It's good for clearing trails, and it's also an entrenching tool. The last thing I used this for was to dig a hole. You can see the dirt on it. Hand forged bolo, I dug a hole with it. You could use it for limited self-defense if need be. I've had this since I was 12 years old. For 51 years, I've had this knife, and it was featured in one of my videos on my 3 favorite knives, along with my U.S. Marine Corps K-bar. I've got a smaller version I showed in a bug out bag video sometime back. The bug out bag video was from my travel bug out bag. I had a couple bug out bags, and I did carry one here, which I've already put in the house. And I got some tools over here. There's a camera there. I got a tool set there, and these power tools if I needed to use them for changing tires. Quite a few things. There's some thermoses and different alcohol to keep my hands clean and sanitized, things like that. I kept this canteen down here. I kept this jacket down here to cover up my nugs when I had them in here. You know what I'm talking about. Had some long nugs, and that way it was a little easier to conceal them. So yeah, pardon me for not washing the van before I did this video, but I'm going to do that after I unpack it. So just to give you the sense, yes, this was used in the desert, you can tell. A lot of desert trail roads I rode over in this van. I slept in this van for 6, maybe 7 nights. I think it's 6. But and it slept well, actually. Did pretty well at it. So I'll show the living compartments. First, we'll look at the upper deck, and you can see I put in some solar arrays up here. This is a Harbor Freight solar array. I'll never buy another Harbor Freight solar array. I think they stink. Personally, it's more of a toy than anything else. It does produce power, but I don't like the outputs in the control mechanism. And that is right here. The reason I don't like it is because, well, turn it on. Hey, look at this. It's charging right there. Even in the shade, it shows it's charging there. And when I push this button, it means the lights are accessible. And it's got lights that runs from solar power. You got to use a lead acid battery, so I got a really good lead acid battery to go with it. But the problem is, the only power outputs are the lights, little plug stuff here, which the lights are plugged into, little silly interfaces for power out, and USB. So there are underneath here some screws you could use for other kind of power outputs. But frankly, this is a joke. This Harbor Freight power system is a toy. I'll never get another one. I will get serious solar arrays with better power distribution options than this. This really sucks. Actually, the best power distribution option I've had for running stuff with serious power is a stupid little so-called generator. These are not generators. They're just batteries with distribution units on them. This thing I was able to keep charged up just driving around the van. It don't take long to bring it up to full charge driving this van. And you can see what the charge level is by hitting the display. It's 100%. This thing, because it's got real plugs on it though, I can actually use it to run my CPAP machine, or I can use it for running a fan. I could also run this fan. I ran this fan directly off cigar outlet power, which are cigar outlets built in back over here. I got a regular power distribution center with power plugs. I could actually plug an extension cord into this and run it, which I've done a couple of nights in Tulsa. But I can also jump off my van with this. So it's got its own cigar outlet with jumper cords that you can jump the van off. So I generally think these kind of units are way overpriced, but you know, for something handy to run a CPAP, it's not a bad deal. This is actually a better deal than this junk up here, and this junk right here, and all of that. When I look at what all that cost me and the limitations of the power, I got a lot more bang for the buck out of this stupid little thing, and I do consider it a stupid little thing. But the Harbor Freight solar is an absolute hilarious, stupid joke. I would never buy another one. All right, that's it. Lesson learned. Solar power is a good option for a van. Just get you a regular solar panel and with a regular outlet controller with some, you know, inverters and controllers that actually give you better power options than what I've got coming out of this stupid Harbor Freight system. And you can get more power. You can get solar powers that give you 325 or so, maybe 350 watts, whereas that's a 100-watt system on my roof. It's just a joke. All right, so this is my storage for clothing. That's my bed. That bed is actually a bench seat that's reclined with a inflatable mattress on it, which makes it a little too thick. The mattress, the leather bench seat really wasn't that comfortable. And the problem with it is it's got the controllers and all built under it. So lesson learned, take all that stuff out. I had 2 seats here that's in one of my other vans we took out to make room in here. 2 seats like this, captain seats. Nice chairs, but I took them out here to make room. And I need to take that out too. That's goofy. And if I had it taken, I'd have more room for more of these storage boxes underneath. I could do 3 or 4 of these under there instead of just trying to squeeze one in the front and junk in the back, which really didn't work out too good. So that bucket over there, that is actually a toilet lid on a 5-gallon bucket. There's little bags you can put them. There's a little portable light. This container here, I had food in it and utensils. I've got a first aid kit back over there. I don't know if you can see it. Different things in here, different provisions. My walking stick, some rat poison, some nug kibbles to feed the nug if it got hungry. You see, I was able to hang clothes up in the back. This thing has some interior lights built in, which are as good as a stupid Harbor Freight system. Harbor Freight is stupid. I got nothing else to say about it, except I might do a video for my product Papa's to crack on it, because it needs cracking on. Here's for inflator for the mattress. Ability to take care of business if need be, and use the bucket. Fortunately, I actually have never had to use that bucket on this trip, but if I had to, it was there. That little gallon jug actually came in more handy. So, I didn't shut that good. So I'm going to show you in the back side. There's my trailer hitch. I did have a platform sitting back here with a generator on it, and I had there was a dual fuel propane bottle gasoline generator that I had sitting right on this platform coming out of here, but it warped real bad on the trip. It was just about dragging ground with the terrain out there the way it was. There's no way I could drive it around. I actually had an option. Scott Miller offered me his motorcycle carrier, but I was in a hurry when I decided to get out of there. I just didn't want to deal with anything other than getting out. I was there a lot longer than I meant to be. And he agreed to let me store my generator out there because I'll be back one day before too long. So I've actually got some tools there. This is opening up the back side. You can see I've got a chair. I got some video equipment back here. My little closet space hanging up, water, some more storage back here, cords and things. Got a raincoat back here. I got a camp stove down here. I do have some camp stove gas to go with that camp stove. Fire extinguisher there. So yeah, we got some backside stuff here. Now, the thing is, so this van, and one of the reasons I fixed this van up is it's got better electrical systems inside, and I got this power outlet here. This was made as a camping van. Now I've got another van which could have been used as a bug out van. I bought this van originally to fix up and use like I'm using this van. This van, it's got a good stout motor. I redid the front end on it, so it actually steers and handles better on the road. But it's, I don't know, I'm having trouble finding the window controllers I need to replace to get these windows working. Some of the wiring in it is ratty, and it's got a gas leak. I've actually hired a couple of people to fix my gas leak, and they've all failed to fix it. Actually, headroom wise, there's a little more headroom in this van. I like that bed. I could have slept on directly, and it don't have all the junk underneath it, so I wouldn't really have to replace that bed. I could just sleep right back there. So in some ways, I actually like this van better, but I may sell it because I don't need two vans. So I'm probably going to sell one. I may have to sell both of them, but I take these seats out. I was thinking to build a counter space over there in either one or both of these vans, but this van still needs a little work. Now for this van, I think I paid $1,200 for this van, but I did probably another $1,200 worth of work on the front end underneath it. And it steers real well thanks to that. It's got a great engine, but it's got some electrical shortage issues. Got a couple of trailers I could pull stuff with in the bug out situation, including the one that I grow my microgreens in. I could put on my secure stuff in that if I needed to. I could use the trailer hitch on this van. This one's got a trailer hitch. It's not as good. It's not a big, professional hitch like that. So this van would be a lot better for hitching major equipment up to. The other one just maybe pulling some little joke trailer. And I got this van. This is a bigger van. It's an older van. It was running when I parked it. I just wanted to get my dashboard redone and just ran to slow down. This van is so long. You can see these double doors. From that double doors back, that's the room I got in my other big vans. That's 8 foot right there. And another 4 foot up there. I only have a sheet of plywood in here and not even come up with these double doors. I bought this as a farmer's market van, but if you wanted to live in a van like this, it would actually give you more room than this van. Quite a bit more room. It's got about 4 foot more room than this van or this van. So it's a bug out van. That's got options, but it would take longer. I paid about $2,000, maybe a little bit, I don't know, either $2,000 or $22,000 for this one. I bought this van about 2 years ago, and I got that one about 3 years ago. So I had plans for them, but this van I've got for a steal. I got it super cheap, like $400, and I just couldn't turn it down because I also realized that this van was almost ready to go. I could use it, and I did. So I got to consolidate. My income has gone to, so I got to sell some stuff. At one time, I was planning to live out of this bus. Actually, live out of it. This is a great bug out option. This bus was running when I parked it. I think the batteries went down. I've just replaced them. As you can see, there's a lot of room in here. It's locked in the back, and I don't have to deal with that. This has got tons of room, and you can stand up and walk in it. You can make full-size rooms. This is something you can make livable, but it takes time and money. It takes me more time and money to fix this up than it did for any of these. So the low-cost issues, if you could luck out and find one cheap, normally for a van like this, you're gonna pay about $2,500. And all these vans I actually got good deals on. Fixed up, you could pay $3,000 for a van like that. All right, so those are bug out options, vans. There's people that live in vans, small vans like this and stuff even smaller. I mean, it does, when you take out the back seats, you got some cargo room in here, but it's not a lot. You know, it's just got enough room to throw a cot. Now, you see some people take trailers like my green trailer, which is 16 foot long, and they build mini houses on top of trailers just like that one right there, right? Mini houses. The bed of this truck is actually 4 foot longer. The bed of this truck is 20 foot long. And it's got so much weight support, you could actually build an overhang to come out here, probably about 4 foot long, like a mini room that steps down. This will carry a lot more weight. I could build a much more rugged house on top of this one if you want to do such, but that would actually cost more money than fixing up the bus, which has already got a roof and walls. So economically, this is not a viable option for me, nor would be fixing up a trailer like that. Although I have seen people live out of trailers like this without really doing anything to them. Much to say. So I got a number of potential bug out options here, a number of things that could be done. Now this is meant to haul stuff to help build my place out in Arizona. That's what I bought this for. I meant for this to be the equivalent of my 1-ton truck for Arizona. Though it's a 2-ton truck and the bed's a lot higher, which might make it a little more interesting to use than say my 1-ton truck back here, old Betsy Blue. Now there are people that live out of stuff smaller than the bed of that truck. You could build quite a camper on the back of a flatbed 1-ton truck, and especially if it overhangs the cab. A lot more than the campers that fit on a lot of pickup trucks, which I've known a couple of people that have lived out of those kind of things. So there's a lot of options you can explore. I have seen videos of people living out of cars like that, taking out the passenger seat basically, and living out of a little car. I couldn't do that. But one lady I saw that did that, she would sometimes pitch a tent, but she would sleep over there between what the passenger seat was in the back, like this way. And then she had a little storage on it. Yeah, you just ain't got a room. That's basically being homeless. In fact, some people claim any kind of living out of a vehicle is some grade of being homeless. I don't know, guys. You can't do as much, of course, from a vehicle as you can from a home, of course. And the smaller your home, the less options you got. But I do know some people that live in some tight situations. The biggest problem with Arizona of living out of a vehicle or a bus, some people do that, but you're going to have some real rat problems. Rats out there are really bad, and they find their ways into buses and things like that. So I don't know if you can find a way to really stop up all the holes to keep them out. Maybe you can, but apparently that's a real challenge to get into the engine compartments. About the only way you can keep them out is put a light in there. They don't like lights. But without electric power, that might be a bit of an issue. So I don't know about this. I may have to sell it. I may have to sell it, sell that, sell everything here, as my income is very much in question right now. But anyway, all that said, I hope I can at least keep a bug out van in a truck, if nothing else. Maybe I can keep that van as a regular vehicle, but it's not a very practical vehicle for Arizona. Given how low it is to the ground, I can kind of get around in it, but it would be challenged on those trail roads. That would be a challenge vehicle. Even my big truck back there with those slick tires might be challenged. So did pretty good in this van, getting around the trail roads. So there's options. My kitty cat has been happy to see me as I got back. So guys, those are options to look at. There's many options. Of course, you can always, if you have a van you can walk around in, that's even better. Some have high tops. So it is more challenging to change your clothes when you can't stand up, but I've done it. It's doable. One of the biggest complaints I've had about having everything in the van is you got to put so much stuff in here. To get anything, you got to move around 2 or 3 things because you want piling stuff on top of stuff. Give you an example. Oh, I didn't lock this. Hang on, let me unlock it. To give you an example of that, and we're about done here. We're about done here. I just want to explain this to you. I had, you see my table there? I got a chair that goes with it in the back, so I could do office work. But if I was going to work from that table, I was going to have to move it, which means I was going to have to move a lot of other stuff, just manhandle a lot of things. I had another similar container like this one on top of this one that had my vitamins and medicines and stuff in, a lot of the daily things I would use, and a few nug kibbles. And quite frankly, I put my CPAP on top of that. Now it actually wrote on top of that because it's got the big lip. It did pretty good. I didn't want to put it in that bag because that bag back there, which the CPAP comes in, gets kind of moldy. But I was able to run it from the van without any problem. But I had to move stuff around. If you want to get to your clothes, you got to move that. And then I had to move what was on top of it. You just got to move a ton of stuff. That's water in here. I got water in the bag. I have plenty of water with me. I have food. This is full of food. I had coolers full of food. I had a bug out bag in here. I had my computer bag in here. So I had like 2 different bags in there, a bug out bag and a computer bag. Why do you carry a bug out bag and a bug out van? This is what we're talking about. You carry a bug out van and a bug out bag and a bug out van in case you have to bug out away from your bug out van. I mean, the advantage of a bug out van is you can live in it. It does provide some shelter. In the colder weather, you're going to have like extra thermal stuff, like an extra thermal Arctic grade sleeping bag maybe to stay warm on top of that bed. I've already taken my covers off except that sheet here, and I've taken out the let's see, this is the actual couch. This is the air mattress, which eats up a lot of room. There's a foam mattress in there. You can see the curtains, which work really good. But the thing is, if you're in a van like this, you won't be able to heat it and cool it like normal. So you're going to have to compensate for that. Hard weather is going to be harsh. If you have auto wreck, you lost your home perhaps. If there's no gasoline, if you run out of fuel, you're up a creek. You'd be stuck living out of this wherever it's at, or if you're in a bad place, that's when you got the bug out bag. If you crash on the side of the road and suddenly you know you're going to run out of stuff and you can't survive there for long, then you got to trek across country. That's why you got the bug out bags. So I could cross country trek to get away from whatever I'd have been in with a van. But the van also might have been the best place. If it was in a decent place, could have been the best shelter. Now these aren't good shelters from a strategic fighting situation because, well, guys, they're high power rifles that can shoot through the walls of your house, plenty of them. But they may not know where in the house you are. In a van, it's going to be a lot easier for them to nail you if somebody wants to shoot through and get you. It's going to be a lot harder to hide in a van unless you put sandbags in the lower level and get down on the floorboard. That might be one option if you expect to be under attack in a van. But it's going to be hard to shoot back unless you knock a hole in the window. So, and then you might get your head knocked off. So a van is not a good place to be in a defensible situation like that. So hopefully you're not in a situation like that. Now my bug out location that I've been prepping is a 2 days drive from here. If you know ahead of time things are going to get bad and can get out to some place like that, that's fine. But if the power grid's already down or it goes down en route, you might not make it. That's why you may have to ditch along the way. That's why you got to be able to survive in here for a while. Maybe have the bug out bags in your bug out van. Different things like that to take into account. But if you can live in your bug out location, then you're bugging in. That's the idea, bugging in. So that's what I thought I'd do here for a while. I have plenty of stuff for bugging in, but they're just piling people on top of me here. Too many people moved in the area. So I'm nervous about that now. Alrighty guys, so these are all things to consider. I don't mean I'm going to give this area up, but I might. I may have to, just based on income. I've got some issues. Alrighty guys. So See my cigar over there. So there you are, guys. This thing worked out great, quite frankly. Paid $400 for it. 25 years old. Did no major maintenance on it. And I drove it clear across the United States, sans one state on each side. Alabama to Arizona, sans going through Georgia and California, being across the entire width of the United States. Most of the width of the United States, round trip, with no major problems. If the van had died on him, he had to be completely overhauled. It still would have been a bargain. I mean, some people buy $50,000 vehicles for such stuff. I can't afford such nonsense myself, but I find if you, with a little luck and grace from the Lord above, something like this might just work out for you. So there you are, guys. That's really all I got to say on this topic. Consider bug out vans, bug out buses, bug out trailers. Yeah, you can make a trailer to live in. I'm going microgreens. You could bug out in a car or on foot. But a van gives you, like this, gives me a lot of options because I can't live in it. I could be the man in the van down by the river. If I had to be. If I had to, if I became totally homeless and lost everything, I can live out of the van if I had to. It would not be the ideal situation, but it's doable. So there you are, my friends. That's the advantages. Now you can also stealth camp in the van. As long as you can find a little fuel and a little money to drive around and get you some grub. Well, you're not going to be gardening if you're living in a van. So you got to compensate for that. Unless you got a place to drive to, like I do in Arizona, where I could garden, or here. Or you rent your house out and live out of the van. A lot of options, guys. But a lot of stuff's coming at us real fast, so you need to think about what's in front of you. Seriously. This proposition is this channel to help you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. And along those lines, I'm selling worms again, so go to greengregs.com to check that out. And if you're worried about the currency and economic crash, go to Defy the Grid and look at their deals on bullion and coins and goldbacks. You can use the code GreenGregs to save 1% on your purchase. That's a little discount code. And also consider long-term food storage, which I kept some in here with me. And for that, you can go to prepwithgreg.com. Other prepping spots. So thanks for watching. Greg out.